Michigan in early March. It's cold out here, a lot of snow still. It's probably about 28 degrees right now. Wind chill's probably about 20. We're going to do our first outdoor brew ever. Never done it, so we'll see how this goes. I think it's going to be pretty challenging. I'm going to be brewing something called Stan's Pale Ale. It's from a local brewer here. It's a great recipe. I've done it a couple times with extract and specialty grains, and I'm going to do it brew-in-a-bag today. So we're going to have to start clearing up some of this snow so we can get a safe working area, and we're going to get started to brew. Okay, I have set my water level marks here so that I can easily measure how much water I need in my kettle. And that's just, there's a lot of places to calculate that online, but based upon the diameter of your pot, and it tells you in inches where you got to be. So I've got some stainless steel hose clamps that I just measure off to the top. Sorry, mash levels up here. Pre-boil is going to be here, and post-boil should be right about there. Okay, start filling ourselves up with some water here. Okay, we've got our water level where we want it, and we just lit the burner up. Definitely having some wind issues I'm going to have to contend with, but we are starting just around 42 degrees. Okay, I walked away for a second, and of course we're a little bit over temp. We want to be at about 157.5 or about 160, but that's going to cool down real quick, I think. So I'm going to get ready to get the bag in there, and we'll get started on the mash. Grab the grains. Well, now we're right at 152 exactly with my coat on there. Problem is I'm obviously going to have to pull it off to heat this thing up, so we'll keep a close eye on it and see how this whole thing works out. Well, I've had to pretty quickly bring the coats up and all that stuff to add a little bit of heat. I mean, I'm just almost back at 151 now. I was just down to about 150, but recovery time out here is going to be tough, I think. Okay, we are done with our mash. We're going to do a mash out at 170 for 10 minutes now. So I'm going to pull everything up here and fire everything back up. Drop the hops in. So temperature's holding really good. We've got a nice rolling boil going, and just keeping this on top is helping a lot. So we're in good shape. We're about 15 minutes into our boil. Did our first hop addition. Another one in 15 minutes. Minutes, and we'll put another 1.5 ounces of Cascade will go in. Okay, final hop additions, 1.5 ounces of Cascade. Okay, that was the last hop addition. We are going to add the World Flock clarifying in there. Okay, we're going to put our chiller in. Okay, we're going to clean our top, get everything sanitized, and ready to go for chill. Okay, we are cooled and ready to transfer to the primary. Give a lot of aeration. There we go. So I forgot to use my hot bag, so we're relying all on my screen strainer inside there now. I just realized now I forgot to use it. Okay, we're gonna grab our reading here. I'm gonna take my last sample. It's about 72 degrees, so get the pitch. I'm also going to decided just to pitch the yeast dry. Okay, it's a little over 24 hours later. We've got good active fermentation. I've had real good luck just pitching this yeast directly. I haven't noticed a whole lot of difference most of the time, and I've never had trouble doing it. So, got good volume and good fermentation. Okay, we started this brew on a Sunday. Today is Wednesday evening, and I've had this blow off on there. Not something we needed for this beer, but I never like to take any chances. So I'm going to put the fermentation lock on. So kept everything nice and ramped up. Threw a little temperature guy in here to see kind of what the temp is. Looks like we're sitting at about 66 degrees. So that's good. We should be okay with that. I kind of preset these levels a little bit. That should be pretty much it for a little while now. So as I was putting everything back together, I had put this stopper in there, and I also have this regular style. And I'll tell you, this one here was kind of sliding out. I wasn't getting a good seal, so I decided to go back to this style, which I put in here, and it's holding down, nice and flush in there. Okay, it's the next morning after we put the fermentation lock on, and it looks like we're getting some consistent bubbling now. Okay, it's been 3 weeks to the day, and we're going to check our gravity on this. And if it's looking good, we're going to keg it today. So, although the beer tastes real good, it actually tastes real good. Its final gravity reading is only coming in at 1.02. So I think it's just too cold, and the temperature of the wort was about 61 degrees, 61.4, I think. So what I'm deciding to do is I decided to move it from the basement upstairs and stick it in a closet and see what I can get out of it there. See if anything picks back up. I'm of course just moving it around from the basement upstairs already. I'll show you it in a second. Already, got the bubbles moving a little bit because obviously I shook things up a bit. And not really intentionally. Maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. I think if it was earlier on in the process, I definitely would. But I'm not really sure of how much I should be shaking it at this point. So I'm just going to let it sit up there. I'll wrap it up again, monitor the temperature, let it sit for a few days and see what happens. So we'll go check it out real quick. So this is it in its new home, in the closet on the next level. This room's probably the warmest room in the house. Has a computer in it that generates a lot of heat. So, and you can see we're getting a little bit more action. It's definitely picked up. Again, I moved things around also, but we'll let this sit for a while. I mean, that's pretty active. It hasn't been anything like that. So here we are about 24 hours later, just a little bit over. And you can see with that warmth, we're definitely, the yeast is back in suspension. Seeing some activity for sure. So my trick now is just getting the temperature right. I'm trying not to get it too warm. I do have a small space heater that I've been running. But of course the temperature says it's 77 in here now, which I know that it's not near that inside here yet. Inside the carboy. I don't want it to be that warm, so. Okay, so it's been, well, we're about 6 days from when we decided to move this primary into that warmer place, and we've been sitting at, it's typically been in the room area here somewhere between mostly 72, pretty solid, 73 for a bit, because the temperature is changing here. Spring is finally coming in, but now we're down to a constant 70. I think it's time just to get a sample just to see where we are. If we're moving well and it just needs more time, I'm probably going to rack it then to a secondary if I think it's going to take more than a day or two. So we'll have to see how it is. So I'm going to grab a sample real quick and we'll see where we are. Okay, so after the last gravity reading, it didn't change at all after almost that whole week. Definitely was doing a little bit of something in there, but it's still 1.020. So I'm just going to keg it. It's been 4 weeks. I don't see if there's really going to be a whole lot of advantage to moving this to a secondary. I don't imagine in another week or two it'll make much of a difference. Could be in my yeast prep. I did take a shortcut. Temperature, a few things. I'll figure that out later. So we're just going to go for it. It still tastes great. It just has a low alcohol content. So. Siphon now.
Oh, it's going.
Okay, we're pretty full. Full batch there. Okay, we're gonna cold crash it and let it clarify. Okay, we do a little taste test of our Stan's Pale Ale. Did a free hand there. So we know our alcohol came in a little bit, a little light on this thing. But it does taste great. Tastes awesome. So, I think I'm pretty happy with it. If it wasn't for the alcohol content, I'd say it'd be perfect.